This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Premium Takes Podcast. I am your host here with one of my favorite co-hosts, Zion Zenith, one of the four horsemen. Today I will be your pilot, and he will be our co-pilot today for the show. Zion, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and even better that the Giants won a game last night. So excited to break it down on today's episode.
Well, as they say, let's not bury the lead since you jumped right into it. Let's get into it. So last night, if you're living under a rock, you might not know that the Giants were playing on Thursday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles, a very interesting rivalry, especially since the success or lack thereof of the Giants. Hey, Mac, but he's here. He is here.
We can't hear you.
What's good? What's good?
Mac is live from work. Mac, how are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Doing great.
Would you want me to still steer the ship, or are you?
Go ahead, in case I got to jump off suddenly or something.
Okay, so I was prefacing that this is the game last night. We're going to obviously break it down and get your thoughts real quick. But last night's game, we all thought going into it, it was going to be a bloodbath, a one-sided victory, two-score game. But we didn't think it was going to be for the New York Giants, ladies and gentlemen. We thought it was going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. And you can see why Mac is on screen with that big smile on his face for the first time in a while. My man, Macdagiantsfan, can walk around his job with a smile on his face, proud effort. Mac, since you are the one limited with time, Zion, I'm going to give Mac the floor first, if you don't mind. Mac, tell us how you feel and what you were doing after that game.
Well, I feel great. After the game, I was still working. Unfortunately, I wasn't working. I was working until midnight last night. But at the end of the day, I mean, it always feel good. The Eagles, man, and not even just we whooped that ass, you know what I mean? So that just made it even that much sweeter. That was 4 quarters of New York Giant football, and we're not used to getting 4 quarters of New York Giant football from New York Giant land. It was awesome to see. Jackson Dart is him. See what he did with that group of wide receivers. We had a Jalen Hyatt appearance all of a sudden. I mean, a couple of catches, but still, nonetheless, you know. Jackson Dart, man. Could you imagine this guy with some real weapons around him? I mean, just imagine. I can't wait until the foundation is really laid. I mean, him, Cam Scatterboot, Malik Neighbors, when he's able to get back healthy next year, man. Hopefully, that's a very solid foundation to build upon and build the rest of this offense around. I mean, the offensive line has been even just looking way better all of a sudden with Jackson Dart out there at the quarterback. Andrew Thomas, what he's done for the offensive line since his return. I mean, to me, it was just a great performance. Like I was like, am I watching the New York Giants right here? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, watching this football game last night. I mean, there's a couple of little negative things you can pick at here and there too, but I'm still right now just riding the high of the wind before I start breaking down, digging too deep into everything else. Right now, I'm just feeling the W. And I mean, beating the Eagles, the world champs, come on. That's a great feeling. I'm sorry. It's a great feeling for me. It's a great feeling for New York Giant Nation. Hopefully, we can keep this level of play going the rest of the season. Win, lose, or draw, just play respectfully like we did last night for the rest of the season. And I'll be a very happy New York Giants fan no matter what, because I know the future is finally looking potentially a little bright. Jackson Dart, like I said, for all how I felt about it back in April, throw all that shit out the window. That's for all, crumble it up, forget about it. Jackson Dart is him, and I'm glad he's a part of what we got going on right now. He is the guy that's going to lead this team back to credibility. And I can't wait for it to happen, man. I mean, that was just a great step right there in the right direction, man. Let's see how he can do on the road against Denver next week. But right now, just enjoy this moment, man. He just knocked off the world champs in prime time, by the way. Prime time. This is the only game on So everybody watching the NFL was watching you kick the Eagles' ass last night, Jackson Dart. And that's what you did. Went out there and kicked that ass. Whoop that ass. Cam Scatterboo looks for contact. He looks for contact. He wants to run you over. He wants you to remember when you came into contact with him. I love it. Old school New York Giant football is back. It's back. I love it. To think I almost sat Cam Scatterboo last night, too. Almost didn't play him. If Amarion Hampton didn't get injured last week, I would have sat Cam Scatterboo on my bench, and God, I would have been pissed off. I would have been pissed.
How much fantasy points? How much fantasy points?
He got me 36
30,
points.
36 points.
He got me 36 points last night. Cam, Jackson.
That's a good start.
Great everything. I mean, great start to my week. Get to enjoy football on Sunday, knowing my boys took care of business already. Got an NFC East win. I know that's just also clutch. I mean, it's been so long since we did that. We're actually winning football games at home, giving the home fans something to cheer for. And you can see how what Jackson Dart has done. I mean, when he went to that blue tent, the way they booed Russell Wilson down out of that stadium, man. Come on, man. This kid is it, man. He's it, and I'm glad we got him, man. He might actually save Brian Daboll's job. I'm just saying, he might really do it. It might happen. That's just my
definitely want to get into that later on in the show.
That's just a reality. I'm saying he might do it.
Absolutely.
And the game didn't start out that great with the first kick getting a penalty. But Zion, your thoughts on the game? Maybe you have some other nuggets you want to share or things that you might have seen.
Yeah, Matt hit it on the nail, man. It was good for once to have a team victory. It wasn't like we escaped with a victory. It wasn't like we barely was in the game. We dominated from start to finish, and we didn't let up. You know, when you see these two rookies come in and put the damn franchise on their back like they did, I remember Jackson saying in the press conference after the game, they sat next to each other on the plane back from New Orleans, and they said no more. Like we're not gonna let this team go down that route, right? And boy, did those two guys really put this team on their back, and it's just I love to see it from offense to defense to special teams. I felt just as excited as Mac feels. I'm not gonna reiterate it because he touched on a lot of great points. And when you look at a kid in Jackson Dart, he's the first quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes to score a touchdown in his first drive in his first three season games. That's his riz, his aura, whatever the next generation says, he has him. He's him, and he definitely, I can be comfortable saying that he's going to be a franchise quarterback for this franchise for hopefully the next 10 plus. Cam Scatterboo couldn't have said it perfectly, Mac. Guy looks for content. You see him in high school clips banging his head against telephone poles. You see stories that his dad's talking about. I mean, like the foundation that these rookies have bought, the life that these rookies have bought to the team, to the point where your head coach is going to get fined because he's going into the blue tent. And he's going to go blue tent for Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's running in the blue tent. Like, do I need to call a timeout? You can't do that, obviously. And he's probably going to get fined. And the fact that Scatterboo went in the blue tent, like the life that it was. I never been to the big city. I never been to Big Apple, but the fans, man, they deserve that win last night. For all those fans that bought season tickets for the last 5 years, for all those fans that even bought tickets to any game, they deserve that. That was the loudest I ever heard a pre-game Thursday night game crowd. There were times that they're chanting, Mama Dort. When his mom came up, they're chanting Papa Dort. Like, MetLife was so lit last night. It was probably the best place to be in the city, and there's always good places to be in that city, the city that never sleeps.
It's not really in the city, but
you're true. Close enough, and that's true in the swamps. But regardless, before I pass it over to you, can I just say shout out to Brian Burns, man, running for Defensive Player of the Year, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because that defense ain't playing what we expected them to be at this point in the year. They're gelling, and hopefully they can continue to gel, and hopefully they'll get better. But shout out to Brian Burns for really, really fucking going out there and captivating with these sacks and putting this D-line on his back and really going out there and seeing what we can do, because we get it. Dexter's always going to be double coverage, and we need someone to step up and get paid. And we paid you $28 million, and you're earning every single dime, leading the league in sacks, tied with leading the league in sacks. And shout out to Flat going out there and making a play. You've been balling out for a couple of weeks, but we can't really see because the team's been so shit. But now we can actually see, like, yo, your hard work pays off. That interception was the stamp. That was the victory stamp. And as soon as that was like, oh, we're fucking winning this game. That's it. Good night, Eagles. And it was lovely to see. And one more last thing, holding Berkeley to under 80 fucking yards. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Never thought I'd see that. And we did. We held one of the best running backs to under 80 yards. And shout out to a team win last night. A team win. Go right ahead, Adam.
Well, just one more. Can I say one more thing too, real quick, before you jump in? Just another guy that needed a little bit of acknowledgement I left out was just little Jordan Humphreys, man. By the way, that dude came in, making an immediate impact. First time even getting a uniform this season. So just shout out to him. I mean, it wasn't like numbers don't jump off the page at you, but at the end of the day, he had an impact on that football game last night, and it was good to see him out there. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be getting a uniform for the foreseeable future. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm assuming that's going to be the case now going forward. But take it away.
Real fast too, like Jackson Dort, it wasn't only him, but he ran out there, no pressure. He beat the world champions with who was out there wide receiver? Shout out to Little Jordan. Shout out to Hyatt for stepping up. Shout out to Robinson. But like, the kid is him, man. The kid is fucking him. Go right ahead.
When you go into a game and Wan'Dale Robinson is your best wide receiver, that's usually not necessarily a great thing. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't want to be the dead horse, but I'll go back and be the dead horse. So, Jackson Dart, people, this is what I've been telling you for the last 6 years. That kid was the best player on the field. He elevated and raised the bar. The pocket presence. Everyone talks about the O-line. The O-line was good, but that kid was under siege. Under siege. And you know what he did?
Yep.
Kirk Herbstreit said it best. He's a playmaker. He makes plays. And that's what we hadn't had at the quarterback position in a long, long time. And this is what I kept telling you guys in the preseason about. That's why I told you to start him. This is what I told you guys in week one I wanted to see. It's not because I thought – it's because I knew he was the best quarterback out there outside of Jameis. And if it was a true quarterback competition, which it should have been from the get-go, so Jackson had a chance to win the job outright, we would have been here. Why? Because I had a conversation this afternoon, and many people are talking about these quarterbacks and why they're doing well. Well, look, if you look at Cam Ward, what does he have? He has nobody there. Nobody to mentor him, nobody to guide him, nobody to learn to. Everybody's looking at him to be the guy. They had Russell Wilson in here. They have Jameis Winston. Those guys are kind of the messengers for Jackson, meaning if they like him, they can get the whole team to rally behind him and say, listen, look, we believe in him. We're in the room with him. We see his work ethic. Get behind him, right? He has a good system in place. So I wasn't worried about that. The kid's going to learn on the fly. A lot of people are like, oh, we got to wait for him. He's not going to develop by sitting on the bench the way you guys think he's going to develop. Because look at J.J. McCarthy. That guy can't get on the field. And when he is on the field, he's struggling because he hasn't seen anything on the field. Now, granted, he was injured, so he didn't get practice reps. But that doesn't mean you're going to come out next year and be good. You need to play. And look what he's done. Look at that ball to Hyatt in the corner of the end zone. That's a touchdown. That should have been a touchdown. I mean, obviously the guy was holding, but that was a dimer. There was another dimer, little Jordan Humphreys, that he made where is the ball angle. If you watch his body, he's going right and the ball's going left. And I'm like, wow, this is what I talk about. This is the Matthew Stafford. This is the Mahomes-esque plays. Is he going to be that guy? Are they going to live up to that level? No. But if you look at where he's already done with his legs and what he's done, like part of me, the best play I saw was the Wan'Dale Robinson 35-yard touchdown. Not that I'm giving much credit to Wan'Dale. He was okay. But the play for Dart was almost a sack. He looks back. Nobody's over there. He rolls to his right. He's about to run. He's like, oh, wait, look, there's a little guy over there. Boom, wide open. So he makes the throw. He made it in a way where Wan'Dale can turn and break a tackle. and then after that, he has a convoy to the end zone, right? And you saw the energy when he walks in. When Russell Wilson came in, the whole stadium deflated. They knew that if Dart was out for a long time, the game was going to be over because they knew Russell Wilson came out and already threw a bad pass right out the gate. I mean, look, he looked like he threw a duck. Like, well, where were you going? Like, oh my God, Russell, talk about falling off a cliff, right? You can't even run the offense right. I mean, Russell Wilson must be in his head. Yo, if I'm Russell Wilson, I ask for the next bus out of here. I'm like, yo, get me out of here while I still have some value. Because I keep going on that field for Jackson because he gets banged up. Boom. But just to kind of, move on about Dart, because you guys made some points. The things that I saw are the things that we saw this week. The moment wasn't too big for him. He came in there on a short week after a bad week. He's done everything in the matter of 3 games / however long he's been here that you want to see franchise quarterbacks do. That we weren't seeing. Sure, did he come out and do what Daniel Jones did his first year and threw 300 yards in his first game? No. But what did he do? He executes the play. He puts the team in the right position, and he has the elevation level where, yo, I'm going to put this on my back. Just follow me, and I'm going to make the play. And that's what we haven't had. And like Al Michaels was saying, and like we have been saying before, he's got the look for New York. He's got the swagger for New York. If he starts to ball out the way we think, he's going to own New York. He's going to be the guy on every billboard. It was fun to see a guy on the marquee. It was fun to see a quarterback on the marquee. When they're doing the games and they're previewing the games, we used to have like a Barkley up there or an Odell Beckham or somebody like that.
Malik.
Because you know why? Because our quarterback wasn't anything like wasn't the guy, right? You knew he wasn't the guy. They didn't want to put his goofy ass on the TV. But guess what? This quarterback is going to be everywhere. And I'm just telling you guys, sit back and enjoy the ride. Because even though I don't want Brian Dable, right? And I don't think we're still going to win that many games. I think at some point, the other shoe will drop and he's going to make mistakes and things are going to happen. You have a limited offense. It's just going to happen. You're going to run up into a buzzsaw. I'm not worried about it. Like Max said.
Can we touch on that real fast though? Like, speaking of Mac, he brought up coaching, right? I was on the phone with you earlier, and I brought up Zach Taylor, right? Because I when I look at Zach Taylor, I don't see a head coach. I see a head coach. I see a head coach, obviously, but I don't see like one of these elite coaches, right? Like a Sean McVay, like a Brian LaFleur, and not Brian LaFleur, but Matt over in Green Bay. That being said, though, Kevin in Vikings, and obviously the GOATs, that is Andy Reid, and then obviously Tomlinson and stuff like that. That being said, though, when I look at Zach Taylor, I looked at a coach that was a 3-win coach. Okay, he's about to get fired, and they go and Joe Burrow and LSU has a great season. Joe Burrow steals that draft from Tua. They take Joe Burrow pick number 1, and the rest is history. But now, when I look at that team, obviously it has to do with the bad leadership. What Adam pointed out today, the ownership acting as the GM, a bad run organization, can't fix the O-line, worst O-line in the league for all these years, right? Basically sneaked their way to the Super Bowl because of the skill of Joe Burrow and the weapons on offense. But now when Joe Burrow's not there, and you see it every single year, every game that Joe Burrow is not available to play, they lose. And that goes down to the head coach. That goes down to Zach Taylor. So that makes me think that Zach Taylor is not a good coach. I think that him with Joe Burrow makes him look like a good coach because it's really the quarterback carrying his offense. The reason why I bring that up is you guys kind of feel the same with Jackson Dort and Brian Dable. Being that Jackson Dort and Cam Scatterboo is kind of living under that it feels like they said it perfectly. I forget on what talk show. I was watching it earlier today. It kind of feels like these are like his sons, right? And like these are the guys that literally them two can literally save this guy's job. That being said, though, I was just blasting them last week on getting the players prepared, even though 5 turnovers that comes down to the players in New Orleans. But I was just blasting them. I've been blasting them. We've been blasting them for the last 3-4 years, right? Do you guys think it's a situation where it is going to be like a Zach Taylor? Jackson Dort will win some games this year, lose some games because he's a rookie, and it might benefit of keeping Brian Dable because it might save his fucking job. And would you guys want that? That's my question to you guys. Do we see a Zach Taylor situation in New York?
Well, I don't. It depends on the record. If the record is still not good, then he needs to go, right? I don't care about this, it's going to hurt his – no, this kid is him. So he doesn't need to worry about what the offense is. You just need to let him go out there and play ball. And we need a guy that's going to elevate him in the reality of what he is. Can Dable lay the foundation? Sure. Now, if Dable turns it around and this team ends up in a wild card hunt, obviously, and they end up getting a playoff spot, that's obviously changed everything. Do I think he's the guy for this team? I don't, but maybe he'll learn something. Maybe him getting more autonomy and making, plays, because like someone said to me today, he was banging the table for Dart. Dable was. Joe Shane wanted Shedeur Sanders, right? Or there was more rumblings that they wanted to go Sanders route, and he chose Dart. So if that's the case, we do have to give Dable credit for sticking up for the guy that he wants and having conviction. And maybe he's learned a thing or two, like, all right, this is my guy. And if you notice, 2 games that he's played at home with Jackson Dart, we've scored over 30 points. Right? That's not a coincidence.
Yeah, we look like a really efficient offense that can move the ball. Exactly.
Right. And you're starting to see them do little things like Wandale Robinson on a little bit of a reverse. So that's what Jackson is bringing, is the creativity with his legs. I just think he is. I'm not saying I don't want to anoint him out the gate, but
kid only played 3 games. Yeah, I feel you.
But if the trajectory that he's on he's
on a good path.
Right. Could he be the Jaden Daniels of this draft? Maybe he is, right? Maybe he'll be a guy that, who knows what the record will be, but you could see the change is coming. And for me, I don't like Dable. I'm not a fan, but if he turns it around, I have to give credit where credit is due, right?
That's true.
And I'll have to say, you know what? You've earned it here. Now that's his job. You love this kid so much, go out and prove it and earn it. Have him earn it, because Jackson Dart, the way he's playing, he's going to earn you a couple more victories down this stretch.
I love it that you're listening to the outside noise as well. Go right ahead, Mac.
I was going to say, I think the thing is, like, I almost think it doesn't even necessarily matter about the record so much as just the way the team looks and fun, because I think you got to understand the reality is that this is not a well put together football team as far as the way the roster is constructed, the talent on this football team. I mean, like you said, I think we're going to go out there and win some games because, as what Jackson Dart proved last night, he just has that in him, man. It's going to be weeks where he's just going to be cooking, man. It's going, no matter what, it doesn't matter who's on the other side, opposite of us. He's just going to get the job done, like he did against the champs last night. I think what this comes down to is, like, last season was such an embarrassing year because not only were you a bad team from a record standpoint, it was just downright looked embarrassing every week as a football team. We just didn't look like you even belonged in the NFL. I think as long as you just keep putting together respectable performances like this one and continue to go forward with that and look at least credible week in and week out, win, lose, or draw, I think that alone probably saved Dabo's job, to be honest. And I feel like Jackson Dart's the guy that's going to have it looking like that. I mean, he's just this kid got it, man. I mean, he absolutely has it. He does not look like a rookie out there. It's like a guy that understands he's been here. He just already belongs. I mean, sure, he hasn't had the gaudy passing numbers right now yet. He hasn't been lighting it up like that from that standpoint. But he just makes really, really good decisions, and it's just. He's just really fun to watch, man. Him, like I said, Scatterboo to 644, man. That's what I'm calling these guys now. 644, man. They just how the hell, how is it that the 2 rookies are the ones that have lit this offense, set a fire under this offense? The 2 rookies, the 2 young guys, rookie quarterback, rookie running back, and that's what has ignited this offense. I mean, it's just special, man. Like I said, this is the foundation things need to be built on. And if they, like I said, continue to perform like that, I think, honestly, much as I'm not necessarily a fan of Dave Walls either, I just honestly can't. So I just think John Mara is not going to fire this guy if this team shows legitimate growth from a just standpoint where it's more understood that you just need to get some more talent out there. I mean, we need a couple more receivers out there. Something. I mean, we give Jackson Dart anything decent. I just wish we could see this with Malik Neighbors. That's what's disappointing, is just not being able to see this with Malik Neighbors also being a part of it right now. Because could you imagine that? Could you? I mean, it's a shame. I feel bad for the kid. He's sitting there watching on the couch now, watching this team mature into a functional football team, and he can't be a part of it right now. And I mean, I know it's got to be eating at him, man. So hopefully he can come back strong next year, man. But I think the foundation right there is Dart offensively on this football team. Dart, Scatterboo, Malik Neighbors, and continue to just build around that and start getting rid of the dead weight. Jalen Hyde, I mean, look, he showed up last night. He had a couple of catches, that's nice and all, but it's too little too late as far as I'm concerned, man. Too little too late, man. We're still at this point, we got to figure out and try to get some better pieces out there. As far as with Brian Dable, things that irritate me is like there were still some weird coaching decisions last night, coaching choices at times in this football game, even though we did play very well. Like that right before the half was over, that timeout for no reason. How we calling a timeout for when the Eagles were getting ready to get a damn penalty, getting ready to get a delay of game penalty? We helped them out. Granted, they weren't able to cash in and take advantage of it, but it's the point, like, what's that all about? What are we calling a timeout in that situation for? Let's let the clock run. That's to our advantage. And then, like, after Dart got taken away into the tent, like coming back out the tent, and you're still calling these running back, quarterback runs, and like, no, stop that. You got Cam Scatterboo, you got Tyrone Tracy back, you got Devin Singletary. Let them handle the heavy lifting as far as that's concerned right now, and take a little easy on your quarterback and preserve him, man. You out there still sending up doing this, calling these plays that don't need to be called in these situations at this point in time. I mean, so there's still questionable things when it comes to Brian Daboll, but I just feel like if this team continues on the trajectory that they're going on right now for the rest of this season, I'm honestly going to say I think his job is probably going to be pretty safe, man.
I like it. I would agree on that.
Well, I don't really have much more about Dable. I mean, I believe it has more to do. It can't just be that. Can't be the bar. Not for a guy who's been here 4 years. The bar can't be, oh well, he's competent. You got to win some games, right? And to me, we still have a tough schedule, and we still have some shortcomings that are going to, going to cost us in some games. Nature of it. It's good to see that we can execute the offense with lack of talent. But I would not, if they go 6-10, I'm not bringing them back just for the sake of bringing them back. If they go 8-9 and maybe they're in the playoff hunt, maybe I could consider, all right, I'll run it back with you. But anything less than that, I don't need you around anymore. Thanks for getting the quarterback that we need. If a guy like John Harbaugh is available, I'm not having Brian Dable stop me from getting a Hall of Fame coach in here, right? A guy who can help build out the rest of the team, because they are a number. There were some things on defense that were kind of alarming. Like, they played a good game, so I don't want to take away too much. But, like, you still gave up mad yardage up and down the field. Like, there were times where Hurst was just sitting there reading a book, and you're like,
all day to throw the ball.
As I love Brian Burns, he's probably the best player on our defense. There are games where, like, you're just standing there, like, literally watching him. There was 3 or 4 drives where Hurst wasn't even touched. There was nobody even in the backfield. Now they brought a little pressure, which that kind of helped. They brought a little blitz. They brought a little bit more blitzing. But somebody was telling us that if you watch the all 22 of the tape, the defense doesn't move, right? And they kept reiterating it in these spaces that we were in. And it's interesting to think about, like, if they are, and they had a players only meeting apparently, the defense. And if they are thinking, like, we just have to stay and do our jobs and kind of play with this, are they really playing within the scheme, or are they just that good of defensive players that they're, making up for it? And that's what we're going to find out, because a lot of things went right there this way for them. But if you look at time of possession, they gave up 200-something yards of offense to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts threw 1 pick all year, but they were what really killed the Eagles in this game. Because there are 2 teams in this game, is the third down conversions is what really killed them. If you look at it, the Giants were 8 of like 10 or something, some ridiculous stat they were at one point, and the Eagles were 1 of like 9, and that's where they lost the football game. Because if you watch second half, the Eagles did a good job of kind of containing the Giants and getting back into the game. Like, they stopped them from scoring. The last one obviously was an interception, but they did only give up a touchdown in the second half, and they were in the game like defensively for a long time, it was the offense for the Eagles that kept sputtering and not getting first downs, not sustaining drives, not getting into range. Credit to the Giants defense for some of it, but there were times where you're like looking at this, like what were they doing? Now, why are you not giving the ball to Barkley? He's your best back. And there are some things that you're like, this team could do so much better. And then when you look at the box score, the Giants converting 8 of like 10 third downs, that's what kept it going, keeping drives alive, keeping momentum, and then scoring touchdowns is the difference in the ball game, because you had the best red zone team in the Eagles, and they couldn't get to the red zone. Now, there was a couple things that I'm still worried about. That breakdown to Smith, you can't have that. Like, luckily, it didn't end in a touchdown, but those are the type of back-breaking plays that could, turn the momentum of a game, right? That you're dominating. All of a sudden, let's say it gets that touchdown in the game, and now we're talking what? It's now 24-20 instead of, and now you have to come back. Of course,
the momentum just shifts to the Eagles.
Right.
They get the momentum.
So maybe you never know, right? I mean, Jackson Dart, I think, can handle the wave, but what I'm saying is that these things need to be cleaned up. They have a long day to do it, and I don't want people. I know it's a precursor, and we'll talk more, Mac, about this game, but let's not underestimate Denver Broncos. We're feeling ourselves. We beat the champs. We're good, right? But remember, who beat the champs before us? Denver. So they're coming in there looking, and I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, if you look at the Denver Broncos, right, if I'm looking at them and I'm Sean Payton, I'm looking at the next 2 games as us getting a chance to get in a division lead, right? The Chargers are struggling. Kansas City's not the same, and the Raiders are falling flat in their face. We had the Jets and the Giants coming up the next 2 weeks. They need these games. So, and I know we're going to preview it more, but I'm just saying, let's not sleep on Denver. They had a gritty win against this Eagle team. Let's see what they do, and before we start crowning the Giants beating an Eagles, maybe we call the Eagles at the right time. Who knows if in 10 days the Eagles don't come back and put a shellacking on the Vikings.
Yeah, I do want to say this to that point. It's like let's be honest. We all kind of knew like looking at the Eagles offense, they're pathetic this season. I'm sorry, it looks like the Eagles team that got hurt a couple years ago. I think Dan Orlovsky said it on TV perfectly. They're so fucking predictable this season, right? It's like and to not utilize AJ Brown is it's almost mind fucking to me. I couldn't pick another word, because like he's not running these fucking longer routes. He's like doing like 5-step slants and shit like that, and that's not how you utilize one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. So I think Nick Sirianni, he's gonna get his boys prepared for the next time out, and to not, I don't want Giants fans exactly to overlook a strong fucking Denver team, and we haven't been doing it consistently lately. We're yet to do it consistently. We're yet to do what we do at home against the Chargers and to the Eagles to a road team. We went to New Orleans and we got fucked up because of the crowd and because of the turnovers and all that shit. Now we have to play at Mile High, and that's one of the most toughest places to play, especially a team that's coming back from overseas. So, maybe they could be a little bit of jet lag, but at the end of the day, that's still the Denver Broncos coached by a Hall of Fame coach in Sean Payton. That's not going to look at the Giants as they're going to respect us. And if they respect us, they're going to play tough football, and they have some of the best players on defense on that side of the ball. So it's going to be a true big test for Jackson Dart and the boys, and I'm hoping that our defense can show up in that game. I can't even give a prediction right now because it's too early. I'm still going to enjoy this one, and I know that we have a whole week ahead of us. But
that's the point. It's just a point, just real quick. Like, it's a point, like, now this team with Jackson Dart at the helm has performed quite well at home in 2 home games with Jackson Dart. Mm-hmm. And they not so well on the road to get in New Orleans, obviously, now going back on the road in Denver. This is the point where you get an opportunity to see, can you answer the call on the road when you don't have that home crowd out there cheering for you all on your back. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second.
But for just to wrap it up, Denver is formidable, so they're going to be one of the toughest defenses we faced, and this offense with lack of weapons is going to struggle sometimes. You got a decent corner system. What I want to ask right now, I want to get your guys' takes. Is that the real Jalen Hurts that we saw there, right? Because while he had a lot of yardage, right, he didn't look, as dynamic as he normally looked. And it brought me to thinking, like, are we seeing the real, Jalen Hurts? Because he's not elevating people the same way. He is playing efficient football. He did have a couple good games here and there. How should we evaluate him after this game? Do you still think he's the guy that we think he is?
Yeah, you want me to be honest with you? I think I think he's not gonna say this in public, but I think he's real bored with the play calling right now from Nick Sirianni. I don't know what Nick Sirianni is doing, but I think he got real lazy in his play calling. We have a guy that we all respect as an elite coach in this league for what he has accomplished in his short time. And you look at some of his offensive and defensive coordinators around the league, they become head coaches. So we always look at Nick Sirianni and we always respect him as a figure. And he goes and he's calling fucking 3/4 of the same fucking plays, one of which with fucking Flott picked up. Like I'm not even a coach in the NFL, but you can't do that in that league. They said it perfectly this morning. You can't call the same play and expect the defense not to be smart enough to see this play. And like I just think he's getting fed up with the play calling. And because I look at Jalen Hurts and I see a top quarterback, the borderline almost elite. But then again, it's almost as if like he has performances like this season, and you're like, what's going on? And I think that's a valid question, Adam, because he does look kind of off.
Well,
go ahead.
I think the thing what it is with Jalen Hurts is he's a great leader. Like he's top tier when it comes to just a leadership on the field in general, top tier. I think when you just put it all on, I think he needs a strong running game and to support what he can do, what he does best on the field. And I think part of what it is, what I was talking about the other day on the roundup. This is an offense that just right now, for whatever reason, it lacks an identity. And it was funny listening to Mike Florio earlier today on PFT. Man, he was like he said it's pretty much kind of the same thing. Reiterate, this team just has no offensive identity right now. Like you can look at them on like when it's like 3rd and short, 4th and short, or whatever, and that twitch push that's they do that quite well. Obvious, no problem. But like he said, something he said that stood out to me was like he said, but first and 10, 2nd and 8, whatever. This team has no real clue what they really want to do or what they really want to be. As far as like last year, they climbed on the back of Saquon Barkley, man, and took them all the way to the top. You know what I mean? And right now, they just don't seem to know what I don't know. It's like
Mac, won't you think they're smart enough to know that they're not going to get that again? You know what I'm saying, Mac? Won't you think they're smart enough to know that they're not going to get that again? That was like one of the best performances we've seen from an O-line and a running back in the NFL history. They can't expect like, we're going to do it fucking again. This is the NFL. It's not fucking Mac 10. It's not Mac football. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
To your point, Jalen Hurts, maybe he does need a run game to elevate himself. What I'm looking at it is last year they had the same kind of issue coming out the gate. They struggled with Atlanta and some other teams. They were like 2-2, 3-3. They didn't have a good starting first few games, first like 5, 6. Then they have a bye week. And they come back off that bye week and turn it up. And I'm not sure if it's going to be the same thing, but they have a mini bye. And if I know anything about adjustments, this team comes out and figures it out. And if they decide to put it together, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out of this little 10-day window and all of a sudden you're like, they're putting up 35 points on the Minnesota Vikings. You're like, oh, there we go. They figured it out on the offseason because they have won games in random ways and they haven't played a complete game. I think their defense let them down last night. They weren't as dominant. You can't blame one guy, Jalen Carter, because they still had Javad Campbell. But you also got to give credit to Jackson Dart because some of those things probably should have been sacks. But he moved to the right, he moved to the left, and avoided some of those pressures. And he took advantage of a weak secondary. Their secondary was obviously Kenyon Mitchell looked like someone stole his puppy after his hamstring was pulled. They really took advantage of that, and I think that's what helped them this week. But the Eagles have to really, really rally and really kind of put it together.
Can we touch on one more thing too? It's like last year, right? I think we talked about it earlier today. I think they looked bad. They're like 3-4 coming off of their bye week. and they end up winning the Super Bowl. So to your point, that's absolutely valid. Next time out, I hope this team does not sleep. You can't sleep on a team like the Eagles because they're like this. There's not a fluke. This is not a fluke. We beat them. We'll beat them ass today. But guess what? In 2 weeks, they're gonna come in, and we're gonna go there at Lincoln, and that's gonna be one of the most toughest games that Jackson Dort will probably play in this season. So that being said, hopefully we come out of Denver healthy because that's gonna be a battle. But I don't want this Giants team to be like, oh yeah, now we can. No, this Philadelphia is still not a walk in the park. They're still number one in this division for a reason, and they're still the champions of the world. So we have to respect them.
And just we've touched enough on that game and that scenario. Unless Mac, you have any final thoughts, we're going to move on to some games that we want to pinpoint and kind of talk about this NFL Sunday.
I mean, I'm still on this little high right now, man. Right now, just from this Giants beating the Eagles, and it wasn't just a meaningless victory like that, like the last time we beat them back in 2023 in the last game season, which meant nothing to us. This game means a little something still, and I get like it just feels good to be able to talk shit to Eagle fans. They've been so quiet today. They usually all over my timelines and social media talking all kinds of craziness to me. I ain't hearing shit today. Not a word, not a peep. So it feels great.
Oh man, I could tell, and I tell when I saw Mac on camera, I could see in his face he was so elated to finally get a win over the dirty, crusty Eagles that he always talks about and hates praising. Now he can finally on NFC's Roundup. Please tune in because you're going to want to hear Mac's monologue about this game and about the Eagles. I'm sure it's going to be spectacular. So, but apparently,
just one more thing about the Eagles. I'm sorry. I know we took so long talking about that and it's dragged on, and I'm sorry, host. But to clarify, when I say MAC football, I meant like Mountain West, right? It's like you can't come in there and like maybe if you're in the Mountain West conference in college football, yeah, you go one the same shit 8 times in the game. They're not gonna figure you out. But it's come on, Nick, you're better than this, Nick. You have the best running back, one of the best wide receivers, and then you got a load of people that want to come figure the fuck out. It's just weird that they played so bad this year. Continue though.
And you're not playing Appalachia State out there. With that being said, the Eagles are 4-2 and still atop the NFC East. So while they struggle, they always have drama. This seems to happen every year, and they seem to turn around. And next thing you know, we're talking about them in the divisional round, some way, somehow, some form. So I don't think this is the last we've heard of the Eagles quite yet. We'll see how they come out next Thursday. But let's not talk about that. Other NFL games are going on, and we're going to preview a couple of them here. Obviously, the NFC East games, we're going to try to tiptoe around those if we can. We can touch on them, but obviously we'd love to hear what Zion has to say. But we want to hear you guys coming on Wednesday and hear our real in-depth takes on some of these games. So Zion, if you would be so kind to pull up the first game that you would like to discuss and tell us some of your reasons on the team you picked, and then we'll go to Mac.
Absolutely. And then do I just pick like a random game?
Whatever game you're interested in watching, we would
okay.
Like,
Sounds good. As we get a Furman advertisement, free on premium takes, maybe we should get them as a sponsor.
Look at that. What's going on? Wiping your ass,
Wait. Alrighty, so let me look at. Let's stay in the early day slate, and this is a game like I don't even need to scroll. This is this game right here. I'm gonna point out this game. The reason why I'm selecting the Seahawks and the Jacksonville Jaguars is because both teams this season has been looking good. You know, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars that clearly came off of, I would say, like a foundation, I don't know, like the next step in a franchise, kind of like what we want out of Jackson Dort in his second year. You can see that Trevor Lawrence to win this game was important for him. I'm sorry, not to win this game, to win against the Chiefs was important to him. He won it on his birthday, and you could just see the team rising, right? We have Hunter now playing more defense. Then he goes out there and he gets a nice catch. And now, they're gonna go against a tough Seattle team that absolutely been playing balled out. Like, I watched that game with Tampa last week, and Baker Mayfield and homie, forget his name. I should know his name. Sam Darnold. They were just going back and forth, and it's just a fun game to watch. And then you just got two teams here that are both really, really good, and something has to break. So this is why I'm gonna probably take the Seahawks to go down to Jacksonville and upset the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's probably a game that I wanted to cover. I just feel like this is a good watch, and this is the game I know I'll be tuning in the red zone, but this is the game I'll probably have on the big screen while I have red zone on the other screen. Because this game looks interesting to me. Awesome.
Matt, your thoughts on this game, and then we'll have you pick a game that you're also interested
I
in.
love that.
Matt,
Either he's muted or he's busy.
Well, then I'll talk about the game while we wait for Mac to come back on. Seahawks, Jaguars, I think the thing you're talking about is a signature win for Jacksonville.
Yeah, thank you.
They are believing in the system, and we'll see how much it translates. Right now, it looks good, and they're up top of the division, and they bounce back pretty quickly. As for Seattle was a team that was feisty last year in the playoff mix, fell short this year. They're starting out strong. They're having some strong. They're playing really good defense. They can score on offense. They're doing a lot of good things. Sam Darnold is playing pretty good. He's carried his momentum from Minnesota over into Seattle. And you talk about the maturity of a quarterback. He like Daniel Jones was matured and had maligned in New York. And sometimes you got to take a harder path and learn and go to some places that are a little different to get to where you are. And he got signed that big contract. And I think for me, I'm going to be a little different than Zion here. Zion takes Seattle, who's probably going to come out and wants to show that they're the class of the NFC with up there with the Lions and stuff. But I'm going to go with Jacksonville. A win like that you had against the team that you played with I think it was Kansas City last week. It's like us playing the Eagles, right? They're the defending, reigning AFC conference champion. And like everybody's going to give the Eagles their best shot this year because they are the champ. You always want to see how you measure up. You're going to get their best shot in the AFC. So with that being said, I think Kansas City is in the minds of like the Jaguars a more significant team than let's say Seattle. And they're probably saying, well, look what we did to the defending AFC champs. Let's go in there and show them in our building in Duval and build off this momentum. So I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mac, are you back?
Love it.
I'm here.
So your thoughts on this, and then we'll get you to pick a game you're interested in.
Seattle, Jacksonville here. This is interesting because Jacksonville is so up and down. You never know what to expect from this team week to week, man. And I think I'm going to kind of go opposite. I think I'm going to go Seattle here. I just feel like Jacksonville coming off that big emotional comeback victory against the Chiefs. It was. I mean, the effort they put into that, but I just haven't seen that level of consistency with this football team all season long. I mean, Travis Hunter still hasn't truly gotten gone on either side of the football, to be quite frank. I mean, maybe if he focused more on one side or the other, he could be a lot more productive for this football team. And I just think, with that being said, I just think Jacksonville is going. They'll just kind of do what they do. Have a letdown here, coming off a big emotional victory against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think Seattle goes over there, flies across country, and takes care of them, man. Because like you said, because I do believe Sam Darnold has been playing some pretty solid football. He's definitely not having a letdown after signing the contract, after having a big year in Minnesota last year. He's definitely not having a letdown. May have really found his groove as a respectable NFL quarterback. And they run the ball really well. They do run the ball really well. And JSN, man, whew, that dude is becoming an elite receiver each and every week just that goes by.
When him and Ibuka was just trading, when it's like last week's game, when like Baker Mayfield would just pass it to Ibuka, and then Sam Darnold would just come back and pass it to Jigma. I'm like, this is such a good game right now. Like, just throw defense out the window. Like,
I don't know if Brian Thomas is playing. It was Brian Thomas and Trevor Lawrence. So, good thoughts on those games. We'll see if Trevor Lawrence can build off of it. He's got a lot of scrutiny. Maybe we'll talk about him next week. Mac, is there a game on here on the docket that you are looking forward to now that you're on Giants football watching vacation? Is there a game you're tuning into?
I think I'm gonna look at that Chiefs Lions game, man. the Chiefs and Lions on Sunday, man. I know the Chiefs haven't been exactly playing, top tier football, what we're used to seeing from the Kansas City Chiefs, but this is still a big time matchup between two big time, two of the big time teams in the league. Chiefs might not be playing up to that level quite right now, but Detroit, man, this is something where I want to see what they really made of. I mean, we know they went out week one and got embarrassed by the Green Bay. Was it the Green Bay? Yeah, Green Bay that embarrassed them week one, and then they've been pretty much doing all the embarrassing to everybody else they played. But the point is, everybody else they played has been bottom feeders of this league. The Chiefs right now, their record might say one thing, but they're still the Chiefs led by Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid as the head coach, and this is still a very good football team, despite what their record might be saying they are right now. I mean, they may not be the almighty Chiefs dynasty that we've seen over the course of the last several years, but they're still the Kansas City Chiefs, the team to be respected. And I like to see this would be a good one, I think, on Sunday, because this is no matter what, until the Chiefs are out of it, they're a contender. So as far as I'm concerned, this could be a Super Bowl preview, honestly, right now. I mean, it's not looking very likely based on the way the Chiefs are playing right now, but it could be. And Detroit has been playing really good, but this would be finally they're going back up a notch in competition, upper class of competition again, and kind of see how they go out there and respond. So I think Detroit will win this one, though. I think just right now they're playing out of their mind on a different level, but I think they need to go out there and prove it against some, a little bit more quality opponents, because the last couple of weeks they've had some layups, to be quite frank.
Zion?
Beautiful. Mac, you said you're taking the Lions?
Yeah.
I'm taking the Detroit Lions.
I love the fact that you brought up this game. I love the fact that this game is on Sunday Night Football. As much as I don't like Chris, I love Sunday Night Football. It's just such a good. I love the NBC games. That being said, though, I'm gonna have to ride with the Chiefs. I just think that it's at Arrowhead. I just think you don't see Mahomes lose back to back, so he's gonna have his team ready. I think Kelsey's is probably gonna be hop into a time machine this game. We're gonna get vintage Kelsey. I know he's been dropping a lot of balls lately, but I just feel like this is now a month has gone. There's no excuses. Whether he's gonna be more healthy. I know he went down with ankle inflammation, and he's been dealing with a lot of problems lately. But I really believe that Thornton, that's one guy that Mahomes kind of has the chemistry with now, and all Mahomes needs to do is get chemistry with someone. And yes, they had a really tough matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Lions, man. They're playing great football. Gun to my head, there's nothing to tell me to take the Chiefs over the Lions right now. The Lions with Gibbs and what they have doing with St. Brown and Jared Goff and that defense, man. That defense is playing good football. But like Max said, they are, the level of competition now doesn't have me concerned, because I still do think that Dan Campbell is a really good coach in this league. But he's gonna have to fly down to Detroit back to Detroit with a loss, because I think it's gonna be a nice, gritty, good gridiron kind of game. I say have it like a weird score, like probably like 21-18 Chiefs in a battle, old school battle. So I'll give me the Chiefs.
Well, I thought I was on the own island myself, because I'm going to go with the Chiefs, not because I don't like what Detroit's doing. But we forget that Arrowhead's a tough place to play. Chiefs coming off a loss where a game they probably thought they had, and with a couple turnovers here, next thing you know, the game's turned, right? I think you're starting to see the offense from Mahomes. He's moving up and down the field, and I think while I like what Detroit's defense has done, and I think their defense, believe it or not, is better than last year. I'm just feeling the Chiefs right now, like Max said, and they're not out of it till they're out of it, right? And Mahomes hasn't been playing poorly at all. I think he's played pretty well, actually, all things considered, with what he's had to deal with. He still has kept his team in the game, which we, as Giant fans, we're hoping our quarterback keeps us in the game, right, every game. And interception on this here, interception there. Next thing you know, the game's in your favor. So, with that being said, I think they have the heart of a champion, and they know what they're doing, and I think they're going to be ready for this Detroit Lions team. So I'll give it KC.
KC, got you down for KC. Oh, hey, Adam.
I will pick a game that is intriguing to me. And as Zion scrolled by, I think I'm going to look at that 49ers Tampa Bay game here. As you all know, there's some injuries on Tampa Bay side. where they are going to be banged up in the offensive receiver position. But this is a game for me where I want to see what we got in both these teams. These teams are young, they're strong, they're trying to make a push for a playoff spot. I know it's early to talk about, but it's really not, folks. We're at week 6 already, okay? We're at week 6. We have 11 games after that. When you look at it like that, and you look at the runway that we have, this is where people are going to start to try to stack some wins and get into prime position. And this is where I want to see if Tampa Bay is the real deal. They've had some tough games and some tough opponents, and they've been in every one of them, right? From whether it's the Eagle game, whether it's Seattle, they've been in every one of these games, and I think they have what it takes. And I think I'm going to take Baker Mayfield and call me crazy, and the Buccaneers, even though they are a banged-up team. I just think they're playing good football, and the 49ers, unless they're starting Mac Jones, which they might be, I think he's a better fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense than Brock Purdy. But give me the Buccaneers. You guys? Let's go first.
Yeah, I have to follow you there, man. I have Baker Mayfield as number one in my leading as MVP. I think he's having an amazing season. I think Todd Bowles is really a respected coach, but he doesn't get that limelight because he's a defensive coach. Everybody wants to talk about the Sean McVays of the world, but I think Todd Bowles is right up there in his genius. I do think that his defense is playing good football, great football, and to get someone like Ibuka out of Ohio State, it's like, God damn it, the rich just gets richer. You think, okay, Mike Evans out. Here comes Ibuka, probably front runner for offensive rookie of the year. But that being said, man, I just love the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you see Tom Brady leave and you see this franchise not fold, right? First straight years with appearances in the playoffs, the only NFC team to do that. A lot of people's not talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but guess what? Like Adam said, after this statement victory against the Kyle Shanahan-led offense, people are going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I get it. Green Bay has the attention. The Lions and the Eagles are going to get the attention. But I think Tampa Bay's name needs to be respected more because they're playing good fucking football down there. So I'm all right with the Tampa Bay, injured or not. I don't see I think Mac Jones is a decent quarterback, but I don't see him having the game like he did last week against the Tampa Bay team. So give me Tampa.
Mac?
Yeah, I'm going with Tampa as well here, and it's mostly just the Baker Mayfield factor, man. Baker is he's legit. For anybody that still is not really a believer, you watch Baker Mayfield week in, week out, man. This guy is legit. Whatever growing pains he had to go through over his first few years in the league, he's gotten over them, man, and he's definitely emerged now. He's one of the top guys. He's a top guy. I'm not necessarily going to say he's in the top 5 or so, but he's up there. He's definitely up there, and he just gives his team a chance week in, week out, no matter who they're playing against. It's when you watch this game last week, this game in Seattle, it was Seattle, and then last week the marathon game. That was just back and forth, just Baker Mayfield making every throw he needed to make, man. And it doesn't matter. I mean, he's out. Chris Godwin's out this one again, so he's back losing Chris Godwin. But hey, he's played most of the season without Chris Godwin anyway. So what difference is it really going to make? And then you still, like you said, you brought up the rookie who was definitely a front runner for rookie of the year. That kid is just nothing. He's electric, nothing but just big time playmaker right there. Exactly everything the New York Giants need. That's another story for another day. But Sterling Shepard even. I mean, you got Sterling Shepard down there even making clutch catches for this football team when it matters most, man. So it's just I just feel like this team does a lot of things really great offensively, and they're good enough defensively. Also good enough defensively, man. I know last week didn't look so very good defensively for them last week, but at the end of the day, they still made enough plays offensively to win the football game. And that's what this team's all about, man. Baker Mayfield he's the truth, man. I think he's a difference maker, and I think he's the reason why the Buccaneers win this football game.
First off, I just want to read these numbers to you guys real quick on both these quarterbacks in this previous game, Seattle versus Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield, 29 of 33 for 379 yards and 2 touchdowns. 29 of 33, folks. That's 4 passes that were incomplete or dropped? That's insane. On the other side, Sam Darnold had a game as well, 28 of 34. So he's pretty close to Baker Mayfield for 341 yards, four TDs, and 1 interception. Though that is great quarterback play, people. Like, this is what you want out of your quarterback. Those are numbers that like Max said, put you in the top 10 in your categories. You want to see your guy occasionally throw for 300 yards, and make plays. That to me, if you showed me that stat line on both sides, I'm coming away with wow, because Sam Darnold did everything you wanted him to do to win that game. Baker Mayfield did everything you wanted him to do to win that game. Sam Darnold threw an interception. Sure, that maybe gave him one more possession, but if you look at those numbers, those are winning numbers. They put up 35 and 38 points respectively. So we got to give shout outs to both those teams and both those quarterbacks. So I just want to say that. We can do one more game, guys, if we got, to preview, and then we'll close out the show. But is there any other games that anyone's?
I think we should either do the sorry to interrupt, because we did a 10 o'clock, a 1 o'clock, and a 5 o'clock. I think we should do the Sunday morning or a Monday game.
Okay.
Maybe
which one of those two looks better? I like the Washington Caleb game.
I like the Washington, but I know you guys covered that on the NFC East. You know what I'm saying? But we can. I like that Caleb game though. Yeah, let's talk.
This is a more intriguing game to talk about.
It is.
I'd rather talk about that game than talk about Buffalo and Atlanta. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're gonna have you. Let's have you begin, Matt.
All right, there we go. Battle of the top 2 picks from a year ago, man. Caleb, Jaden Daniels, little kind of mini rivalry the early part of their career, man. Second year in a row, these guys are competing against each other. I mentioned it like you said on Wednesday, but I think Chicago coming off the bye week, man, they've had this one marked on their calendar, man. They're chomping at the bit. I believe, man. Been waiting for this game to come back around, man. After the heartbreaker last year, losing off of with the Hail Mary, I believe. Yeah, wasn't this the Hail Mary game for the Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, yes.
To win that game against Chicago a season ago. Yeah, so people don't forget. You know what I mean? People don't forget. No. This is still a lot of the same people that were there in that game for Chicago. They were right there on that field last season. I mean, feeling that disappointment when Jaden Daniels hauled up that Hail Mary, threw up that Hail Mary. So this is going to be a fun game. I love watching. And Caleb Williams, with the way he's been emerging, coming around, playing a lot better football, looking like the top pick that he was. Also has something to prove. He wants to go out there and prove that he was the number 1 pick for a reason over Jaden Daniels, who's been off to a better start to his career, to be quite frank. But this is a big game for Washington, man. And damn, I just still think this is a game in which Jaden Daniels comes out and once again proves his worth. Because his value to this Washington Commander offense, man, is a team. Because Washington is a different team when Jaden Daniels is on the field. Just point blank and period. I mean, not that Marcus Mariota played terrible in Jaden's absence for those couple of weeks, even though they did get their asses torn up by Atlanta. But it's just it's a different feel. Like everything we were talking about with like Jackson Dart earlier as New York Giants. His team has a different energy when Jaden Daniels is out there, when their leader is out there. And then also, like I said, as mentioned the other day, Deebo Samuels also is just stepping up to the plate. With Terry McLaurin out, man, Deebo's been stepping up to the plate. I mean, really having a great season, putting a great season together in Washington as well. So I'm going to still go with Washington here in this one. But I think this will be a really fun game Monday night, and I can't wait to tune into it, man.
Nice.
I'll go right now. I like this game. This game needs to be one of those ones when the NFL schedule moves to 18 games. This needs to be there yearly. We need to build these rivalries when guys are drafted against each other. For example, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, they need to play every year because I want to see that matchup. I want to see how the maturity level, and give me those 2 young quarterbacks that have come up. These 2 guys gave you a game last year, and it really turned the tides for both the teams, if you think about it, right? The Chicago Bears were coming in riding high. They thought they were going to have a meaningful season, with Eberflus winning some games, having a winning record, and then this Hail Mary game changed everything for them. They just the wheels fell off the Bears bus, and it was just they couldn't move. They were terrible. They fired their coaches. Everything kind of unraveled after this game. Well, for the Commanders, it springboarded them into, the playoff run that they had last year. And I feel Bears are going to look at this game against the Commanders and really say, this is our season. Let's have this be our jumping point to, having a good year, right? And if I really do believe, like Max said, they had the circle on the calendar for last year because of how it ended. And I'm going to go with the Bears here. I think Caleb Williams and the Bears are going to go in. I probably picked Washington on Wednesday, but I don't know. You change your mind after a few days, and you want things to kind of, not always be symmetrical, right? You want to give a little shout out to the Bears because they've won games, right? They have a decent record. They've won what? 3 games, 4 games, something like that. 3, 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2.
They're 2-2. So they're trying to get over the 500.
Should be 3-1.
Exactly. They could be, but they aren't. And I think this is the game that they've circled. They had an early bye week to really prepare, and they need to make a statement. This is their statement game. And I think if they win this game, they don't necessarily go to the playoffs, but I think their season will be a little bit more meaningful. They'll be in the wild card hunt. They'll be able to say, we beat the team that kind of beat us last year, and we'll see. And I want to see how Caleb Williams and this young duo kind of perform going forward. It's a matchup we deserve to see as NFL fans. It's one of those games, again, when it goes to 18 games, you need to fill in a blank. Give me one of these. Throw one of these on there because I think it's always going to be entertaining, and we get to see the maturation of these two quarterbacks. I do believe I said that Caleb Williams' nails will be done for this game. So I will say it again.
Well said, both of you guys. And I think, Adam, you can change your mind as long as it's up until fucking kickoff. So you have the right to change your mind. I'm gonna ride with the Bears here. I just feel like Ben Johnson has finally got his team playing, quite the way they wanted to. Obviously, should have won that game against the Vikings, but didn't. Got outclassed by the Lions, but should have, and then beat teams like Cowboys and Raiders. That's 2 teams you want to be able to beat leading up to a team like Commanders, right? When you lead up to a team like Commanders, they're not the bottom of the bell, but not the top of the bell. They're almost like in the middle, right? But the Commanders with Jaden Daniels has that edge. But I honestly think that this is a big statement for Ben Johnson. He finally has Caleb Williams looking good, like kind of what we wanted to see. Obviously nothing. Let's not get into what he was last year, but I like what he is this year. Yeah, and I do believe that, like what you guys both said, teams do remember. They did circle this game. I love this whole marquee matchup. I loved it because growing up, I loved seeing Peyton go up against Tom, even though they wasn't drafted in the same draft class. There was just 2 top quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? And I do think that if you get something like this every year and something like Jackson Dort versus Cam Ward, that'll be just fun football. I'll probably be watching the Buffalo game for only an hour until this one starts, and I'm flipping the channel immediately. Not only because Commanders is in the division, but I'm a SC fan, right? So I have to ride with my alumni, and I just think Caleb has kind of gotten like, almost like Daniel Jones in a sense. It's like you're not performing, all this kind of shit, and he got his name through the ringer. And this is him, now you have to come out, you have to beat a Commanders led by Jaden Daniels, and this is going to be a moral victory for not only him, but Ben Johnson. I think this is a statement win, and I'm not saying they're going to win by a lot, but I just think they go down to, where is this game? Commanders is going to be in Washington. They go down to DC, and they leave with a victory. So give me the Bears. I'm going to follow you, Adam. Give me the Bears.
Awesome. One last game I'd like to check out before we head out real quick, only because there's a little intrigue so far, and that's the Browns game. If you know,
I knew it was gonna be that.
The Browns.
If you didn't know, Shedeur Sanders is.
Wait, Adam. You don't want to talk about Joe Flacco starting for the Ravens? I mean, the Bengals? No.
I rather brush my teeth with a dirty toothbrush than Joe Flacco on the bank. It makes no sense. I'm not gonna.
I know that's what it was.
You're trading for a 40-year-old. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I was just trying to rage bait you to have a little rage, but
I'm trying to be sane, man. I'm trying to be sane. No, but I'm intrigued by Cleveland because if Dylan Gabriel is struggling, will we see Shedeur Sanders? He's number 2 cornerback. This should be the most intriguing matchup going forward from now until as long as, because they got rid of Joe Flacco for a reason. Obviously, they see something in their quarterbacks where they're confident enough to be like, we don't need your old crummy ass. let's ship you off and get a draft pick. Well, Dylan Gabriel is a small guy, and he may get knocked out of the game. Will we see Shedeur Sanders? It's intriguing to me because we follow Sanders most of the draft process, and it would be interesting if Cleveland had their franchise quarterback sitting on the bench. They didn't want to play, and he happens to go into the game. So I don't know what guys' thoughts are on that, him being named the number 2 quarterback. Do you think we might see him, and then I guess give a winner on this game?
I mean, we're only going to see him. I feel like we're only going to see him if Dylan Gabriel gets hurt. I feel like just based off the way this whole situation has been handled from day one, I just don't see him getting on the field unless Dylan Gabriel was knocked out the game physically. I think Dylan Gabriel could be out there and could throw 4 interceptions in the first half, and they'll still run him out there to start the second half. I just feel like this whole thing is just weird in Cleveland with Shedeur Sanders and the fact that earlier in the week that Kevin Stefanski wouldn't even commit to Shedeur being the number 2 quarterback, talking about they may bring somebody else in to be the number 2 guy. And it's I don't know. I don't know. Well, if it's, I mean, we're not there. I don't know. Is Shedeur really not ready? Is he not the guy? Is he that good? Or is it just something just Cleveland being Cleveland? I don't know. I can't ever figure it out when it comes to this football team. But to me, this is a storyline that shouldn't even really be a storyline. When you talk about the reality, it's just only a storyline because it's Shedeur Sanders, obviously. But, I mean, nobody really cares about who the backup quarterback is for any team necessarily going into a game. This is like the only time you ever talk about backup quarterbacks. He's the only backup quarterback that gets microphones shoved in his face on a daily basis. I mean, it's just crazy to me. I don't know. But I think only way to see Shedeur on Sunday is if Dylan Gabriel gets physically knocked out of the game. I don't see it. I don't think he gets pulled for bad play. I just think that they're just something weird about this whole Cleveland situation.
And with that being said,
this is. Oh yeah, who do you have winning? I'm sorry.
Oh, who do I have winning? I got the Steelers winning.
Steelers.
All right, Zion.
Yeah, this whole situation, like Max said, is super weird for me. My thing I'm looking at is why the fuck do you even draft the kid? Like, you can't sit a Sanders and just expect it to be fine. It's almost as if like it's a character in a sense of like teams are not gonna fucking grab Newton if he can't be the starter. You're not gonna have Cam Newton on the bench, right? You're not gonna pick up Cam Newton and have him on the bench. It just doesn't happen. When you pick up someone like Dylan Gabriel, right? You obviously believed in Dylan Gabriel, but then why do you go and why the fuck do you draft that made no sense to me. Now when I get onto Dylan Gabriel, what do I see out of this kid? I'm not trying to be biased because he's from my hometown and obviously you have ties to the islands. But what do I see? I see a kid that is the most winningest kid in college football in his 5 seasons. A kid that literally led Oregon to an undefeated championship game in the Big Ten. A team that only lost last 2 years ago to an Ohio State team that damn near won the damn thing. So when I see a Dylan Gabriel, I think he's going to have this job, like Max said. I don't think the Browns organization is going to give up on him. I think this is his, unless he gets injured, this is his season until otherwise. And if that's going to be the point, then why the fuck is Sanders even on roster? I think, if anything, I could see Sanders going and actually being a starter for some of these other teams, not based on anything, but the kid shouldn't be a backup to another like if he's a backup to a veteran, that makes fucking sense. But now you have a backup. He's a backup to the same quarterback that he basically was marked higher than. Like that doesn't make sense to me. And Kevin, I don't want to play this like if he's not gonna fucking. Because guess what this brings? This brings fucking drama. This brings attention. And maybe he wants that. But I don't think Kevin is that type of guy that just wants unnecessary drama, unnecessary attention. This is like the Cowboys show in Cleveland right now. And I just don't understand why you draft a kid to just keep him as your third string and then let go of fucking veteran. Why not ship fucking Sanders over to fucking Bengals and have him make something, and maybe when Joe Burrow comes back, now they can shop him because, hey, look, he ran out there and he performed better than fucking what we had. But no, they go ship the old man that literally with the worst offensive line in football. You'd think a mobile Sanders would be better than the old man that's probably just going to take sacks. But I don't know. I just think it's the Browns. Like you like what is that? Like fucking 50 head coaches and like fucking 26 fucking quarterbacks in my lifetime. I don't know. Browns do what Browns do.
Yeah, they do.
With that being said, who are you picking?
Oh, I'm gonna take Tomlinson and Aaron Rodgers to shit on these boys.
Okay, well, I think it's interesting, and I'll close with this about it. I think it's an interesting dynamic to have you obviously he's the number 2, so that means he's one play away from starting, which means you probably have no faith in Dillon Gabriel anyways. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if this kid comes in the second half because Dillon Gabriel's struggling, and they say, you know what, Sanders, you're up. Take the second half, see what you can do against Pittsburgh. Move the football up and down the field, and then who knows from there on out, what's the worst that can happen? I think Kevin Stefanski knows the writing's on the wall that he's going to be fired if he doesn't get anything out of this. You can't just go into this and save people's jobs. You guys fucked up the quarterback position. You guys could have had Jackson Dart at 2 or 3 or whatever you could have done. You could have picked Tyler Show or anything. Even Spencer Rattler last year, you did nothing. You did none of that. You have Shedeur Sanders, who's a capable body, and you're not going to use him. But yet now you want to name him the number 2 quarterback. You better honor that. And what I mean by honor that, don't be like, oh, well, we're going to bring up Bailey Zappi and then be like, Shedeur, you're not getting a jersey, even though you're the number 2 quarterback. No, make it so that if Dillon Gabriel goes out there and gets blitzed by TJ Watt and is taken out of the game because he thinks he's hot shit. I'm like, listen, Dillon, you haven't done much yet. Stop your talking and go out there and play. He gets knocked out by TJ Watt. Guess who comes in? And it would be interesting to see what they do. Whether you like the kid or not, it's one of the weirdest situations I've ever seen. Shedeur Sanders didn't help himself by getting caught in the media, but then he's like a catch-22. 1 minute you see him in the media pantomiming and doing this and playing into a reporter's narrative. And the next thing you know, you see a video of him doing extra work on the field. And it's like, listen, kid, just grind it out and play good, because if you play good, then the Cleveland Browns are like idiots for putting you on the bench, right? But if you bring the distraction to you and keep creating it, no one's going to see you for what you are, and that's a quarterback. And you want to be seen for the quarterback, not for the shenanigans that is. So I think it's kind of interesting. With that being said, they're going to get absolutely
destroyed. It just kind of sucked though, Adam, right? Because as NFL fans, it's unfair to us. I mean, like, it's like, why is this kid? You get that, right? It's weird.
Yeah, so you want to see the guy play. You want to see him play.
Yeah, like give the guy a chance. Yeah.
But my question is this: why draft him if you're not going to want to play him and see him? Your season's gone to shit. You just shipped off a 41-year-old quarterback, and now you're looking down.
It's like nothing against Dillon Gabriel, but why draft Dillon Gabriel in that spot? Shouldn't have been that. Why not draft Sanders in that spot? Because we was all shocked, obviously, when Tyler went before him. But then when the Browns came in round 3, I believe, and they took Dillon Gabriel, we're like, whoa, that came out of fucking left field.
I don't know where Seattle was.
Against Dillon.
I don't know if Milroe went after
Gabriel. No, Milroe went before. Milroe went.
Yeah, Milroe
after Gabriel.
He went after.
He went before. No, he was.
No, Dillon went in the 4th. Yeah, Monroe went in the 3rd. Max White. Yeah.
Okay, Gabriel. Okay, yeah, you had a chance to get. You had a chance to get Milroe. You had a chance to get some other guys that you could have developed, and you chose Dillon Gabriel. Okay, fine. Then you should have just left Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and whatever other bum you had on the roster, and just said, we're going to build around this kid and do it. You drafted 2 quarterbacks. Normally people draft a quarterback high, like a Tyler Shuck or a Jackson Dart or Cam Ward, and then they come back and they double dip later on and say, you know what, I'll get another quarterback. You took 2 quarterbacks in the middle of the round to develop 2 guys you believe when you pick a 5th or 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick are developing.
Yes, it is, sir. I think when I went to do the
Mac is getting someone checked in over here, but
I'm sorry about that.
Lost my train of thought as she's trying to get checked in.
When you get 2 quarterbacks drafted in the mid rounds and you try to develop both of them.
Shedeur Sanders trying to get checked into the game. But when you draft quarterbacks when you draft quarterbacks later on in the round, you have expectations of them being a backup or some type of role on your team, right? Usually you don't get the Brock Purdy's of the world, but we believe, some of us, that Shedeur Sanders have talent. So
Yes.
get him out there. You have nothing to lose. You're going to lose your job anyways. You might as well get him out there and see you. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see Sanders at some point because Stefanski's going to run out of options. The fans are going to be like, what the fuck? You're like 1-0 right now. You beat a Green Bay team on just sheer luck, right? And why don't you put the kid in? And then if the kid comes in there and he's competent, all of a sudden Kevin Stefanski looks like a genius, and all these guys are back next year because Shedeur Sanders gives them energy. Remember, energy in the building. Dylan Gabriel, he don't give me no energy. I love him, and I know he's Hawaiian and Samoan, but he kind of gives me like this bitter energy.
Yeah, I get that. He's not he's not really likable.
Like he they ask him questions and he's like, "This is not a circus around here." Like, listen, bro, like just
he comes off as kind of cocky in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Like you haven't even done anything. You better come out and throw 4 touchdowns, homie. I know you can't even see the damn line right now, and you're fucking talking shit. Do something. But anyways, with that being said, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers. While I don't believe he's playing the greatest football, I think they do have a solid offense. And I just think when you play a young quarterback, I don't believe the Pittsburgh Steelers on defense are going to let Dylan Gabriel, talk his talk and walk his walk on Sunday. So just wanted to talk about that game just because of what happened and what was just recently named and the hoopla that is the Cleveland Browns. They're the gift that keeps on giving. No matter what happens, the Browns are going to give you something, whether it's a crazy trade to trade out of number 2, whether it's drafting Shedeur Sanders, whether it's not playing Shedeur Sanders, whether it's asking Shedeur Sanders questions about randomly anything that they want to talk about. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And one day this year, we're going to see Shedeur Sanders play. I wouldn't be surprised if he shocks the world and plays well and everyone's scratching their head and looking at this Browns team like, why didn't you play him before? But with that being said, guys, I think we've given you a lot tonight on this Premium Takes podcast. I'm so gracious for my 2 other horsemen to ride with me. They came in. Mac, thank you for taking some time out of your busy workday. Throw the 4s up at the people and let them know where they can catch us. That's my co-host Mac, the Giant fan. That's Zion Zenith, and I'm Adam Costas. And of course, NY Jeffrey T. Just want to give a quick shout out to him. He would love what's going on with Jackson Dart. We miss you. NBA season's coming around, and just wanted to acknowledge our 4th horseman there. All right, guys.
Myles Garrett, request a trade. You don't want your career to die without a Super Bowl like Joe Thomas, so request a trade, Myles Garrett. Go get you a ring before you retire.
With that being said, this is another edition of the Premium Takes podcast. I'm Adam. We're out. Peace.
We
don't have music?
No, we don't.
Oh, well.
How do we end this stream?